2024, and the way to sell your house has changed dramatically. If it's been a few years since you've been in the real estate market, wow, there's a bunch of things we've got to jump into, but we're going to do it all right here in this video. Can't wait to bring it with you. Let's go. First things first, you've got to look at getting your house prepared and going to market. There were days where you could just, roll it out there and it would take time. Well, actually, we're in a place that the market is moving very, very, very fast. And you can say, well, I'm not in a hurry, but the reality is you've still got to be prepared for the market, right? Otherwise, if you're working with someone that's not preparing you for the market, you can argue that that's malpractice, right? You mean like, well, my stomach hurts, doctor, but I really don't want you to do anything about it. Well, if you have appendicitis and die, well, that's malpractice. And that happens in real estate too, in a similar way that it can be that way. You've got to go in and really take inventory of what's going on in the market. And you could say, hey, tell me what's going on in the market. That's one of the first things. And where do we need to be to prepare for the market, starting with some of those goals. But when you go through now, you want to go ahead and be as prepared as you possibly can. So if you have the time, one of the things we've started recommending to clients all over is doing a pre-inspection. Now, going through and doing a pre-inspection gives you a nice start. You can see some of the other videos on our channel that really talked about preparing your house. But this really saves you an enormous amount of money, an enormous amount of time, and gets you started into the market. Things happen in places that we don't hang out in that can really disrupt not only the value, but also the process and keep us from reaching our goals. So that's where we start. The second thing, and most commonly overlooked, is timing. Most people don't consider timing as part of the value or part of the process of selling their home. They think it can happen quite quickly. It just thinks you're in the moment and you don't realize how much time really goes into it, both getting the house ready, then the phase of being on market, then in contract, then closing is a really long time. It can be as much as 6, 9, 10, even 2 years. We just had a closing last month that we actually realized we'd been in process with this particular client for over 2 years, making sure things were just right, timing in their life, the timing in the market, timing and positioning in the market against the competition was all part of that process and making sure it happened just right so we could reach those clients' goals. So preparing for the market is key, getting that pre-inspection and then working on some of the things on the inside, right? Going through and being prepared for your house to go to market. It is going to become public space. And we actually prepare clients to go ahead and depersonalize the house a little bit, go ahead and get it ready for people coming in and out of your house because they are. And you've got to get ready for people to be, your house to become public space. We have a client right now who had over 27 different people take selfies of themselves in her bathtub. It's new to me. That was a new record for me. I won't say that there may or may not be a picture of me in a bathtub or two across the internet, but that was done for various reasons and various strategies. But this was when someone was still living there. And so we got to prepare ourselves for public space. That means, when you come home, you've got to be prepared, or when you leave home, be prepared that a showing could show up. That's something that many people don't expect, is how short the showing time is and how much preparation has to go into the showing, or you can miss it, which can affect your ultimate goals and where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. And so make sure every time you leave your house, when it's for sale, that it's prepped and ready, going to market, making sure that all of your personal items removed from the house, just have them out of the house. But if you leave and you're going to be gone for 4 or 5 hours in this market, you want to make sure that your house is ready and prepared, because the average leave time that we have for a showing is about 3 hours. And another mistake that a lot of people are doing is they want to negotiate around the showing time. And we actually think that can be a huge mistake, because you never necessarily know what's going on with the other buyer's agent, with the other humans. And when you start having all of those different conflicts, it may yield to missing a showing, and it's unlikely that they're going to reschedule, right? They've seen it. We're in that kind of on-demand market, and that on-demand of, I want to go see this right now. Even on the upper end, we have some high-end and luxury houses that we work with, and you'll get people that'll want showings in less than 3 hours. And that takes a lot of time, because to set up a 10,000 foot house to be fully ready and set up for a showing, it may take up to an hour just to set it for the showing. And so there's a lot of things that have to go into preparation so you're prepared and on the market. And let's talk about the market. Where are you going in the market? Are you going to take advantage of any pre-market marketing? Are you going to take advantage of any whisper campaigns where you're working with networks and agents that know and communities that are going to whisper and share about your house coming to market, and participate in some of those conversations about houses that are coming to market through our network? We hear about those, we share some of those, and sometimes houses go ahead and go under contract with people before they ever hit the market. And knowing that that whisper market is out there and that things are happening, you need to know, is that relevant to your market? And do I have a plan, for that market? Because that could be as much as a third of your market. And you want to know how you're going to be positioned and take advantage of it. Then coming to market, you want to be prepared. You want to look at the positioning in the market about the other houses in your neighborhood, other houses in your price category. We're in a position in 2024 where the market is still very good. We still have a limited amount of inventory, and we have a huge backlog of demand, almost 2 years of demand waiting to do business because interest rates were so high. If we get a little bit of relief in this market, we're filming this now in March of 2024. We get a little bit of relief going into spring, it's going to be a crazy competitive market again, because all of a sudden we've come off one of the lowest sale volume years ever in real estate history in the past 30 years. And some of that demand start to creep back into the market because rates are normalizing, the market is normalizing. Those crazy days of selling in hours for hundreds of thousands of dollars over are gone. Like, that is over. That was a unique time, and thank goodness, because it was an unsafe, it was a crazy time. So what I'll tell you is, you've got to spend a lot of time getting prepared and going to market, and then it's going to feel like a long time. The sales process of getting prepared and then being on the market really feels a long time. When you're for sale, it's got to be ready every time, and that takes a lot of work and a lot of stress. And then you've got to clean up before and after those showings, because again, we've talked about people come in and out of your house. You start working towards closing, and this is when you get really close and start to get really excited, and it gets really real. There can be, and often are, some hiccups in the process. There's over 46 humans involved in one transaction. So if you're involved in two transactions, selling a house and moving to your next house, there's going to be that many more people that can and do have impact on your closing date. So be mindful in 2024, be mindful of your closing date. Maybe you don't want to discover an immediate, absolute hard set closing date where I'm closing in the morning and moving out and moving into the next house the day, where your whole life is packed into a truck. In 2024, we love to recommend people have possession, post possession on their house for maybe a day or even two, to soften this experience and going back and forth in the process. It's much better to have a couple of days buffer just in case we miss a closing date, or just in case a closing disclosure didn't go out just the right way. It's always, and usually they don't fall apart because of these delays, but it doesn't hit the day exactly. And that creates enormous frustration for all those planners out there in the world who, as soon as they go under contract, hire the movers, have them coming at 9 o'clock the morning of the move or the day before. It's always better for us, and we believe in having a little bit more of a buffer on both. So when you get to closing too, we've got a lot of different things. You can do multiple different styles of closing. So make sure you're having conversations about that. You can do, in certain situations, fully electronic closings. Now you have to set up and do some preparation on that, but ultimately you can do a closing from your phone or from your iPad or laptop, as it may be. You don't have to have the full, array of closings and everyone being at the table and, having the quill and ink out, sign things. But there's a couple situations you have to be there, and you do have to be in person. So you've got to schedule that. And if you're doing two transactions, you've got to make sure you're coordinating those different things between all the different parties involved. And then after, where does the money go? How does it get there? What time of day does that matter? It for sure does matter. And so that's another piece to the conversation of what time of day you're closing. You may say, oh, well, closing at 4 o'clock is convenient, but if your money needs to be there that day, it won't go because it's after the wire cutoffs. So you've got to know, oh, well, I was planning, I didn't know that it was going to have impact. That was just what was convenient to me. You've got to ask that question behind the question. You've got to have those conversations to make sure you have as smooth of an experience as possible. On average, people move about every 7 years, and things have changed dramatically in the past 7 years. We've had the pandemic, and things have accelerated for the good, and things have accelerated for the bad. And then after closing, there's a lot of different things that come on, right? Lots of things, lots of moving, lots of vendors that are needed as you move into the next new house for you. So we're excited to be sharing this with you. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Alex, and I'm your friend in real estate in Nashville. But I'd love to connect with you. If something we've said has been of value, please help us change that subscribe button from red to gray, and it'll help us meet other great people just like you that we can continue to help and share here in Middle Tennessee. And if you know someone that's moving to Middle Tennessee that we can earn their trust in the next 6 days, 6 months, we'd love to be in touch with them. Please share this with them. Or if we can help you get connected to one of our peers and partners in our network across the country or even the world, you can actually follow in the notes. You can schedule a time, and we'd love to connect with you. You will actually get to connect with me, and we can make some connections of other people that think like we do, that have the experience that we do, that are going to take great care of you. Now, there's mistakes always in the process, but we can do our absolute best because we've been through it and help you get through it when those mistakes can and do come up. So until we connect again, keep on keeping on.